Hi, folks. This is Mailman coming to you from parts unknown. Well, we got Milton on the way, a big hurricane coming for Florida, and I hope people in that area are taking the advice of officials and got their bug out bags ready on top of everything else that's going on. And very, very disturbing when they put out advice like if you're gonna stay, take a magic marker and write your name on your arm. Yeah, that's chilling, and that should get through to a lot of folks. So we'll go over what's happening with Milton, and it should be making landfall middle of the week. Everybody's looking at updates. Thank goodness there is at least a period of days where people can make arrangements to go to temporary shelter, bug out bag, head to mommy and daddy's or your in-laws, wherever you got to go. If you're in the Tampa area, and look at the reports and make a smart decision. Hi, Sissy. How you doing? Sherry, Diane, Kathy, a Google account, Gloria. Everybody's rolling in. Nice to see you all. So, yeah, I let some time go by before I say anything sensitive. The first 2 minutes of your video, that they say 30 seconds really, but you go up to 2 minutes. But I had a video removed, and I'm gonna ask y'all when more people get in the chats if they remember the video, and if it rings a bell, I'll go over what happened. And it's funny. It was right after this situation happened with the whistleblower who said the rosary and had their YouTube video taken down. I don't even know if I can say who they are. Robert Gavoya did a good story on it where attorneys wrote UTISL a letter saying, you know, how much freedom of religion do people have? How much, who's doing it? Is it automated, or is it an individual making this decision? But I just get a little notification on email says your content has been removed. But apparently I've been a good boy long enough where I have to have another within 90 days, something happened, and then they take me down for a week. So that didn't happen. I'm able to broadcast. But we get some more people in. I will be a little more detailed about it and see if anybody in the comments knows what could I have done, if they recalled anything shocking I may have done, or something to create an air of danger. I don't know, but that's what they say. We'll talk about it once we get some more people in chats. Hi, Flannel Cheese. How you doing? Oh, yeah, anything Bible-ish, or yeah. That's why I encourage people, people, hi, Tracy, people that come into the chats and put stuff, hi, Kathy. And I say, just do me a favor and misspell it a little bit, or use a 0 for an O, or a letter for a vowel. Help me out a little bit, because I fully expect to be kicked out before the big day, before the most important day in the history of our nation, which is coming up. Hi, Roland. So I'll go over, I will read the notice I got. Hi, Decat. Yeah, they got hit hard, but 30 days, to get things secure, get people safe, get people accounted for. We know there's been a loss of life. I hope that General Flynn is wrong about the number. It's going to be substantial. They said somebody asked Alexa about the hurricane coming now. And they answered with a specific dollar figure of 21 point something billion and a specific number, 262, I think, and mentalities. And we're like, how does Alexa know this already? But that could just be somebody, people do anything for clicks. Roberto, how you doing? Wayne, how you doing? Dixie, nice to see you. Angela, yeah, it's Mountain Man time. Well, it almost wasn't Mountain Man time. I got content removed and a warning. So, hi, Lori. We'll go over that once we get the crowd beefed up a little bit. But did you see Elon having his little interview with Tucker Carlson? And he said basically what everybody's thinking. If Trump loses, he says, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. How long do you think I'm going to spend in jail? He said. Well, let me tell you something. That's the nature of a, I got to watch what I'm saying. COMMIE, okay, regime. That's the nature. And let me tell you, of course, Elon is a big voice, capital BIG, big voice, like El Rushbo used to be, but times 10. That is, I believe, thanks to, as Kash Patel said, being the largest military contractor in Defense Department history. I mean, you don't get $44 billion from nowhere. So, yeah, that is the acquisition of Twitter was intended for a counter psyop. And like I said, I've got to be careful with what I say. So anyway, one thing I can assure you is that it doesn't matter how small your voice is or how big your voice is. It's what you are saying. It even gets to, in a full-blown tyrannical regime, it even gets down to what they think you're thinking. So I'm no big influencer, at least on the surface. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My channel be gone. Anybody making a squeak against what Hillary refers to as their loss of total control. She said total control. Hi, Joy. How you doing? So we got I'm pretty sure everybody in here probably saw the video that I put up the other day that got removed. I was notified today. And it was the video where I had one of my better thumbnails. It had a picture of the reflecting pool and misinformation. It had the reflecting pool and a bolt of lightning coming down. How many of you all saw that video or were actually with me on the live stream? I encountered some problems uploading that to Bumble, which we all know starts with an R, and it ended up failing. The upload failed, and I was like, oh gosh. So I started it over again in another hour sitting around. And I almost said, I'll do it later. I'll upload it later. But I didn't. I said, I'll just go ahead and tough it out here. So I went ahead and did it. It's a good thing because I didn't, it had been gone forever. And the way it works is that you get told, a little picture comes up of a guy with a whistle like a referee saying, your content's been removed for misinformation. Content has been technically, here's what we found. It was a video called Clean and Swift, Save the Rest for Last, Fire when Ready. Content has been technically manipulated in a way that misleads users and may pose a serious risk of egregious harm isn't allowed on YouTube. Now, being careful with what words you put in the chats. Do you all remember where I did something like that during that video? I didn't have time today to go to Bumble and rewatch it because I'm constantly checking on what's going on. I go to Telegram, I go to X, I go to True Social, I monitor YouTube and a couple of Rumble channels. It's something that takes up a good part of your day, right? So you have to stop what you're doing to review content that's 2 or 3 days old. Kind of blows a hole in your day. So I didn't do it. I figured, well, I'll ask the chats. Well, do you all recall me doing anything or saying anything or putting on the screen anything that would, because I don't want to put anyone at risk of egregious harm, HARM. I don't want to do that. So what was my choice? I can take a policy training course and have the warning expire. And if I think they made a mistake, I can appeal the decision. So they have said in the past and during this episode that they have a system where it's automatic, where the rhythm picks up words, keywords and stuff like that, and also human review. So in all fairness, it could be something as simple as me saying something that was the computer took offense to that maybe out of context. I don't know. I'll review it. But I'm just looking to see if anybody remembers anything. Hi, Dixie. Well, I'll tell you what I think it may have been. I could be wrong. I haven't. I'll check it and do a follow-up. I'll tell you in a second. While you guys are cogitating, if you remember anything I did wrong. So I figured, well, let me see what it is. A misleading or deceptive content with serious risk of egregious harm. While there are different types of misinformation, and one will focus on most in my training. This is me taking a little quiz, so I'll know in the future what could be a problem. Content that contains certain types of misinformation that can cause real world harm isn't allowed on YouTube. We may allow content that includes misinformation if the content has educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic content these exceptions aren't a pass to promote misinformation. So there were descriptions and that could be upsetting or triggering to someone. So I said, well, I don't know, let me get in the mind of the machine. So I said, okay, so I get the first question. Robin uploads a video that uses manipulated footage to make a country's head of state appear to repeat lines from a famous comedy film. The video's description clarifies that it's fake and meant for entertainment purposes only. Is that a violation or not a violation? So I said, well, they said it was, they disclosed it being fake. They said it was, a comedy channel. So I said, no, it's not. Correct. This video does not violate our policy because it doesn't pose a risk of egregious harm. The Robin is transparent with the viewer, and that has only been manipulated for comedic purposes and isn't meant to be taken as real. So I won't go through all the questions. I think there were 7 of them all together. I got them all except for one that had 3 choices. And anyway, it's no big deal. So I corrected it. And so I took the class. I can still appeal it. So what I'll do is I'll watch the video and see what could possibly be done. And I'm thinking it might be where I had that little cutout of Tim Walsh in his high heels, remember? And I had him walking across the screen because it says it's been mechanically manipulated. It might have been when I was setting fireworks off. I don't know, going boom, pow, pow. I don't know. But I'm thinking it was when I had Tim Walsh in his panties and high heels on the screen, bopping around. Do you think that might be what it is? So anyway, I will review it, and if I'll have to pay. The problem is they take it down. You can't review it. If I had not spent the extra time to make sure it got uploaded, I have to download it from Utizzle to my device and then transfer it from there to Bumble. It's time consuming. So now I can review it. If I hadn't done that, I would just be pretty much in the dark. But I believe that's what it was. It might have been when I had Tim Walsh prancing on stage. Ha 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 ha, the cat, how you doing? Yeah, my bad boy Dixie, how you doing? Kim, how you doing? 2 demerits. Oh, I only got 1 demerit. And I'm working on wiping that out. Ha ha. And I'll straighten out and fly right. Like heck. So anyway, that's how I spent part of my afternoon and evening going through this. Meanwhile, almost simultaneously or right after, we have this guy get his video taken down, the whistleblower, okay, and it's because they said the rosary. The host of the program and the whistleblower, both Catholic, and the notion is that's why they took the video down. I don't know. So I think I got part of a letter. I took a screenshot of their asking questions of Utizzle, but I've been suspended. I've been down for a week. I've been down for 2 weeks. I've been down 3 weeks. I've had my second channel. This is my second channel. I've set up a third channel. So it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. But that's why I talk in riddles sometime. So we can at least try to get the word out. So this hurricane, right now, it is, from the time we talked last night till now, it has peaked. As far as this wind goes, it's about an unbelievable 180 miles an hour is what the winds are. Last night we were talking, it was about 110 or got up to 110 by the time broadcast. And where did my chats go? There they are. Hi, Ann. How you doing? That's right, Roland. I won't read. I won't say what you said, but people can read it. Quilt, how you doing? So anyway, so the storm is up to 180, but they predict that by the time it makes landfall, it will lose more than half of its strength, or right around half of its strength. And not to minimize, what these people are going to be facing in the Tampa area and surrounding areas in Florida, but I've been through storms, and I've talked about in the past, and similar. Okay, this is a relatively, as far as the eye of the hurricane, the width and breadth of the hurricane, it's relatively small, but very, very powerful. Kind of like they likened it to Andrew, and it's going to have pack a real punch in the center of the storm where the winds are the highest, and a surge of possibly up to 12 feet. Now, the storm surge for this last one, for Helene, was 7 foot high. And in other areas, it was lower, but the high watermark for the storm was 7 feet. So this is going to be significantly bigger storm surge. I know a couple of creators have posted that they were in that area and were leaving. Benny Johnson taking his kids, and his wife is in a family way. They got a kid on the way, so they're getting out of here tonight. And the guy I talked about, who was reporting on Disney stock issues and ABC News stock issues, he's beaten feet. That's WDW Pro. He reported that he's leaving. And I believe Viva Frey is down in Florida now. He should be clipping out of there too. Where are my spectacles? Where'd they go? Oh, there they are. Yeah, I want to look at this map. I can't do it without my spectacles. Oh, you heard 15 feet, Roland? I don't know. I didn't hear that high. I heard 15 feet. I don't know a storm. Maybe Charlie, but I don't know a storm that's had that high of a surge, historically speaking. Not in my lifetime. I could be wrong. But so 1 a.m. Thursday was where the eye was predicted to be over the center of Florida, at its landing zone. And the hurricane warning, the big red part, is Tampa. Winds right now 180. It's moving 10 miles an hour. And the storm surges, like I said, 8 to 10 feet is the high point. Which is nothing to sneeze at. I told you all about a roof of a building getting ripped off and landing on top of a 65-foot Elko yacht while it was in the water and while the people were on board. I cut out, Dixie? Oh, okay, I'm back, yeah. Yeah, please hit the like button. Thank you, Melinda. I forgot to ask. Hi, Cola, how are you doing? Yeah, well, 15 foot would, wow, that'd be bad. Bad news. That would wipe things out. So they're looking about worst case scenario, a little over 5 inches of rain. So anybody in earshot, I'm sure they know what to do. They don't need me to tell them. But if there's somebody being a little stubborn, just go ahead and get out of there. Head north. Yeah, I-75 are gridlocked. It'll clear out. They've got time. I wonder why it cut out. Sometime my broadcast gets dropped off. I'm talking about, this is general, curiosity stuff, but sometimes I'm talking about things that they don't like, they'll just knock my broadcast, take my broadcast down. I saw this report about an American guy got sentenced to 7 years in prison in Russia. How come that isn't in the news? Brittany Griner was in the news all over the place. You know that young lady, Brittany Griner. This is a 72-year-old man? What did he do? A Russian court on Monday sentenced a 72-year-old American to nearly 7 years in prison following a closed trial. What did he do? Allegedly fighting as a mercenary for Ukraine. Have you heard that yet? Prosecutors stated that Stephen Hubbard had signed a contract with the Ukrainian military, after Russia deployed troops to Ukraine in February 2022, and he fought alongside Ukrainian forces until his capture 2 months later. That old, you figure they just ship him back to America. Hubbard is from Michigan, was sentenced to 6 years and 10 months in a general security prison. Prosecutors had sought a 7-year sentence in a maximum security facility. He is the first American known to have been convicted on charges of mercenary activity in the Ukrainian conflict. Wow. Well, most of the ones I've shown where they were taken out, they couldn't be tried because they no longer existed. But we saw pictures in my past broadcasts, especially my first channel, which got wiped out. But most of those videos are on Bumble. showing their passports, their military ID cards. But anyway, the charges carried a potential 15-year sentence, but prosecutors requested leniency due to his age and his admission of guilt. So, no, it's not the best outcome in the world for a 72-year-old man to get 7 years, but it's less than half of the potential sentence he could have received. But he's not going to have a very good time in a Russian prison being found guilty of fighting Russians. Get what I'm saying? But because he's an American, they'll probably try to keep him safe, and he is older. Picture him, though. He doesn't look that old, but he's definitely a mature person. So, things I've noticed with the turning of the tide, okay, it's becoming hard for them to continue this very tight race business. Trump is really pulling out, especially in poly markets, which is a gambling thing. They've got him way up overnight, especially after the Butler rally. Bill Maher is making very critical comedic commentary. Saturday Night Live is actually starting to be funny now, even though I still can't stand them. And I did a video I meant to talk about called Shrinking Dark, where there was a lawsuit filed against a number of Saturday Night Live casts for engaging in inappropriate acts with people who were underage. Many of you may have seen that video. It's been very quiet about that lawsuit, but that's how it begins. Whoa, my chat screen froze. There it is. There we go. Yeah, I hope my broadcast is at least steady, because my chats are freezing and screens getting a little crazy. So anyway, but MSNBC is still trying. They put up a video a couple of days ago where they had a guest talking about Donald Trump's billionaire enablers, referring to Elon Musk. I don't know who else they were acting like Trump has a bunch of billionaires running to his aid. And I thought, well, we got Elon Musk. Who else are they talking about? Mark Cuban's been rough on Trump. Everybody's been rough on Trump and the beautiful people. Well, what happens 2 days after MSNBC and CBS and all that put out this narrative that secret billionaires are helping Trump? Well, you have the interview with Elon Musk where he says the billionaires he knows are nervous about Trump winning because they know the Epsteinio list is going to come out. And he mentioned specifically, let's see, breaking. This was all around Telegram. If you haven't got a Telegram account, give it a try, even though that guy over in France is spilling his guts Still worth having. Elon Musk tells Tucker Carlson that Kamala Harris is receiving significant support from certain billionaires because they feel Trump will release the Epstein client list. Elon, I think part of what Kamala is getting so much support is that if Trump wins, the Epstein client list is going to become public, unquote. So there we go, mirroring about a day or two before this talk. They talk about Trump's billionaires, which are practically non-existent. Elon goes on to say, and some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome. So Tucker Carlson says, do you think Reid Hoffman is nervous? And Elon said, yeah. And Gates, talking about Bill Gates. So if we want to do a list of who has billionaire enablers, I don't know who they're talking about beside Elon being on Trump's side. I really don't. Not any high-profile billionaires. But for Kamala, Reid Hoffman, Elon pointed out, was worked with Elon. I think he was vice president of PayPal 24 years ago, Elon said. And you have Bill Gates, Oprah. They were calling her billionaire 15 years ago. Okay, and I know she hadn't lost any money. And so people are like, well, how could Oprah be a billionaire? That's crazy. Oh, you think? You think? They get inside stock tips. They get paid for doing a lot of things. Okay. You can go right down the line. Like I said, Mark Cuban's been bashing Trump. All the Hollywood crowd. They may not be billionaires, but they certainly are multi-millionaires. Damn near every one of them, except for some outliers like Mel Gibson and some other names we're familiar with. And the other point that is coming out, a lot of people aren't aware of, is how much some of these influencers get paid. Kamala went on a podcast called Who's Your Daddy or something like that. Call Me Daddy or something like that. And I didn't even know it existed. And I was watching a report where this lady, girl, or whatever that is running the podcast gets $20 million a year from Spotify. And of course, the more air quote edgy they can be, the better. And they talk about S3 actual stuff, and it's basically a female Andrew Tate, as far as I'm concerned, a cyber pimp talking filth on Spotify. From what I've seen, they get $20 million a year for something that's not, most Americans don't even know about. And Joe Rogan's on Spotify, and he acts like, well, I'm not going to have Trump on because I don't like him, like it's his choice. If it wasn't for Spotify's rules, I believe he'd have Trump on there so fast your head would spin. But I don't think he's allowed to. Trump wouldn't even denigrate the office of the presidency going on that trashy program that Kamala went on. It's disgusting, right, Debbie? Well, yeah, their money's not going to save them. Depending on if they violate certain executive orders, their wealth is going to be confiscated. Hi, television shows. How you doing? So anyway, it's interesting how they're dripping this stuff out and giving people time to digest it. Just like when Trump was at his rally. And what I closed up last night with, who's calling the shots? Who really run this country? He's been asking it for months. He said the people we have that are actually running this country, not her. She's not running it, and Biden's not running it either. And you all know that. So that's got to start being reported. At least it's going to be talked about. We have a right to know who's calling the shots in this country. I've heard that Biden's chief of staff, which every chief of staff Trump ever had, the media harped on, criticized, harped on, attacked. Have you ever heard of who Biden's chief of staff is? Ever heard his name mentioned? Rasmussen report says that if the 2024 election were between Vice President Kamala and former President Donald Trump, who would you vote for? It's with Hispanic voters, and no goggling, but take a guess how much of a lead Trump has with Hispanic voters, which used to be exclusively a Democrat constituency. They used to lead, always lead. But Trump is in the lead. Just take a stab at it. What percentage is Trump? How far did he pull ahead? Pull ahead. Roland says 67% to 33. Kim said 60%. David said 65 to 35. Ian said 70%. Well, Rasmussen says Trump 62%, Harris 36%. So Trump has a 26-point lead. Who got closest to 62%? That would be Kim. Kim got closest to it. That is historic. Never before, never been in the lead, much less by 26 points. That is causing heartburn throughout all the beautiful people, all the bureaucrats. Another thing Elon Musk said was that he wanted to cut the federal government by 80%, employees by 80%. I don't know how many federal employees there are. It's in the millions. But as we know, what do they do when they get in office? When they get a position in the federal government, what do? They don't have anybody to answer to. They don't have a real boss. They don't have a real schedule. They don't have assigned duties. The ones that do are generally conservative, and they get stuck hauling the freight while the political appointees just show up and act important. What they do is they spend their time, energy, and our money trying to figure out how to make their job secure. A point of contention was during an interview, one of these reporters, it was CNN or MSNBC, was trying to split hairs with Senator Tom Cotton about the FEMA money. It was incorrect that FEMA was redirecting money to migrants. That's not true. What are you talking about? It's in black and white. It's come out of their own mouths how much money they've sent to migrants. They go into these little policy statements that, oh, this money was set aside already for migrants. FEMA has a migrant program, and then we got the disaster program. So nobody took any money out of the disaster program and put it in the migrant program. So you can't say FEMA took funds from the disaster program. See how you're misleading people? FEMA was never in place to take care of migrants. Not only that, but they had this Zoom call with about half a dozen of them babbling about how they needed to direct resources more towards the transgender community, so they have more equity, because they had been struggling before a disaster. So when a disaster strikes, you've really got to give more help to that group, because they were at a disadvantage even before there was a disaster. You see how that thinking goes? But that's not redirecting money. And it's not discriminating either, because we said we're not. It's crazy. It's unprincipled, and it changes with the wind. So a lot of people said that Zoom call couldn't be real. FEMA disaster preparedness meeting, quote, "We should focus our efforts on LGBTQIA people. They struggled before the storm. FEMA relief is no longer about getting the greatest good for the greatest amount of people. It's about disaster equity." Well, I tell you what, they can prove whether that's a real Zoom call or not. If it wasn't real, they'd be raising hell about it, saying it was a fake. It was misinformation. So, somebody comes out and says that, we'll do a correction. I think it's fair, and I don't think that violates any policies where I had my content taken down again. Florida state officials say they are planning for what may be the largest evacuation of Florida has seen since Irma in 2017. So, well, the only good thing about it is that they have excellent preparedness down there. They have excellent search and rescue and experience passed down. Hi, Phil. How you doing? Yeah, I put a comment on somebody's video. I said the next move they're going to make is at overseas, BALLOT, OKSs, overseas. They're going to be looking at trying to slip 9 million of them in, which is unheard of. I know, Kim, it is a kick in the head, really, every day. But, I take the same attitude Elon takes. If we don't win, it's over anyway, That's why we got to give it our best shot right now. I had a friend of mine who has a adult child. Who's kind of like, I guess you could say, Tim Walsh's kid, Gus. And, the pencil's not that sharp, and they're, not, they struggle with intellectual issues, but can get along. They said, I'm not going to vote for Trump because I'm afraid of war. And thankfully, the parent said, no, Trump is the one who didn't have wars and doesn't want wars. And Harris is the one where we've been involved in wars. So right there in front of their parent, they said, oh, and changed their ballot to Mr. T. That's simple. Not an argument, not calling somebody dumb. Just explain the facts. Got Mr. T one more vote. The feral liberals, I'll call them feral, raving loons aside, most people want to do what's best. But if they've been misinformed in unison for years, you got to present them with the truth. That's right, Debbie. Mr. T's going to Southern California. He's going to have a rally in Southern California. And people say, why? Joe Biden won that by 29 points. Well, my personal opinion is I don't buy that, okay? That's how they've been able to, with Hillary in 2016 and Biden, that's how they've been able to claim the popular vote was through not just California, but similar areas where they have total control of the bureaucracy. That's where they've been able to pad the popular vote. In areas that have been historically thought as heavy blue. So Trump's going down there because he could pick up a couple of House seats, help any Republican on the ticket, really, that's near there. And the fact that it's going to be such a rare visit to California, media markets beyond where he does his rally is going to pick up on it. His physicality may be in one location in Southern California, but the media attention is going to radiate out from that. And the Dems have got to counter that. They can't just let it go unanswered. That's right, real California is red. Well, another thing that's funny, Trump brought up that arms dealer in one of the rallies he had over the weekend. Do y'all remember that? And I haven't heard him say much about that arms dealer that we traded. He was talking about Brittany Griner. He said she was the one that used to tie her shoes during the national anthem. And he said we traded her for a arms dealer, right? I thought, well, I wonder why Trump's bringing that up. He hadn't brought it up in a while. Well, I found out. A report came out. According to the Wall Street Journal, Russian businessman Viktor Bout, who was released from prison in the United States about 2 years ago in a deal to free basketball player Brittany Griner, is allegedly acting as a middleman in a deal to sell weapons from Russia to the Houthis in Yemen. The Houthis, they're the ones that are targeting shipping, okay, blowing up cargo ships, ramming them with the remote control boats, drones, and even ballistic missiles. 2 days after Trump mentions this guy, he's in the news. Houthi officials visited Russia in August to outline details of the deal under the guise of a sale of pesticides and vehicles. The deal is expected to include AK-47s and possibly anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles. Now we know why he mentioned that guy. The deal could be implemented in the coming days under the guise of delivering food to the port of Hodeida. I guess that's near Yemen somewhere. So look for something to blow up around there. Because if the Wall Street Journal's talking about it, you know Mossad knows about it. So what else came out? And same day about the Houthis. They fired a ballistic, this was today. They fired 2 ballistic missiles from Yemen into Israel. The Israeli army said the rockets were successfully intercepted by Israeli air defenses. I didn't make a note of it when Trump mentioned that arms dealer, but I remember thinking it was odd. 2 years later, he brings up Brittany Griner and the arms dealer. Now we hear this stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, pesticides and food. Oh, okay. Yeah, David, have a good night's sleep. Yeah, it's a good thing that if they don't take me down, you can watch it tomorrow. So then the Houthis put out a report today. See, one thing leads to another to another. Trump brings up the Russian arms dealer. It gets disclosed that the deal is being implemented as we speak. Then they fire ballistic missiles at Israel. And then the Houthis let out a report. They're going to be in the spotlight next. Report from the Houthis. Over the course of a year war, more than 1,000 drones and missiles have been launched at the enemies of Palestine. 193 warships and civilian vessels have been attacked and hit. 11 American MQ-9 Reaper reconnaissance and attack unmanned aerial vehicles have been shot down. They promised to continue their efforts in the same spirit. They're asking for it. Obviously, if the Houthis had more striking capabilities, the report would have been much more impressive. Well, according to this deal that went down, they're going to have more. They're going to have more ballistic missiles. Who knows what they're getting? You never know, Pappy Two Bears. There may be more than one parallel government. Yeah, fill up your gas tank. I've been saying that for a year. That this oil prices are going to explode. What's gold at now? You can Google that if you want. It wasn't $2,700. Prime Minister Netanyahu at a cabinet meeting marking the anniversary of the Hamas invasion. The war would end when the following goals are achieved. I said, oh boy, what are the goals? To end the war. Overthrow the Hamas government. Return home of all hostages, alive or otherwise. They want the physical being, whether DEAD, I'll say it, or alive. Preventing any future threat to Israel from Gaza. The safe return of residents in the north, south, and north to their homes. He said a necessary component to achieving these goals is, quote, a counteroffensive against Iran's axis of evil enemies. So, I don't know in detail who that could be. Hi, Tuco. I'm sure there are plenty of people in charge that know. Information has been received indicating that the Israeli response against Iran will occur, quote, soon, a U.S. security official tells Israel's Channel 13. So they're still waiting for whatever the big response is going to be. I know one thing. If I were an employee at a nuclear facility, I would say I have long COVID. I can't make it. I don't feel good. Or I retire or something. Because I believe that's what's going to happen. And then the Houthis also attacked the port city of Eilat with drones on top of the ballistic missiles. So they're stirring up trouble and they're getting a big shipment. Yeah, boy, I got a thing from Clandestine. I don't know if I can read it. It's right rough. I think it would violate some policies. But I have downloaded a couple of videos where the desperation of the mainstream bunch, the media, their new tactics, okay? They're going back to calling Trump Adolf, right? CNN now compares, once again, Trump to Adolf and claims that he will, quote, exterminate entire groups of people. I've got a video from, it's not me saying it without basis. It's a CNN Bunch of talking heads. We don't even need to see the internal polls. The MSM is showing us with their panic. They know they are going to lose. Joe Scarborough echoes the narrative that Trump will, quote, use SEAL Team 6 to assassinate political rivals, unquote. Joe Scarborough said that this morning. This is coming from the Dems, who used the FBI to raid Trump's home, and then somebody tried to assassinate him twice. Two different people, in order for me to give proper information out. A guy named Crooks and a guy named Root. Boy, I'll tell you what, talk about Midas Trash Network. They have been getting on Eileen Cannon because she told Jack Smith to put an egg in his shoe and beat it. Okay? He had to go up to Judge Chutkin to pull his stunt of filing a regurgitation, a puke out of talking points that's been going on for 3 flipping years. They freak out because Eileen Cannon got assigned a special case. Do you all know what case Eileen Cannon got assigned without goggling it? And for some reason, that's got Midas Touch Network all excited and unhappy, apparently. Remember, Eileen Cannon's in Florida. Yeah, hit that like button, Dixie said. Ha, 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 ha. Television show says Epstein. That's a good guess. Yes, Walsh is a puppet. That's a good guess. But she got the case, and apparently it's going to be delayed till after the election is what they're shooting for. I would say they could go ahead and start whatever their preliminary stuff is. I don't see why you delay it. But I got the video clips uploaded to where they're the Michael Cohen, the lawyer that went to prison for fibbing and lying, even come up there. I'll tell you what case Eileen Cannon got. I only got one guess so far. Angela got it. I was going to get ready to go. She got the golf course ass in, what's his name? Ryan Root or something like that. I don't know what his name is. Oh, the battle is just going to begin. I mean, that's after November 5th. That is when the clash is really going to start. It's going to be outrageous. Yeah, I say the same. Ralph. Yeah. I say the same thing. A quick trial, swift trial. Either way. Yeah. But anyway, Michael Cohen claims that and that's NBC, he said that on the show that Trump intends to use SEAL Team 6 or the military to round up his critics and opponents. That's on top of Joe Scarborough. So I got to be careful. I'm going to quote clandestine. Where'd my chats go? There they are. No, I don't think he's going to walk, Roland. No, here's what clandestine says: no more pulling punches. Yes, we want Trump to arrest the corrupt bureaucrats and media propagandists who have committed the big T word. And then you all know what the big T word is. That is what we want. We can play this game of theater, or we can call a spade a spade. We want Trump to drain the swamp, and that will require putting all the Trey and then Tors in chains. Wow, that's what clandestine is saying. If they didn't want that to happen, they shouldn't have stole all our money, used it to fund war across the globe, trafficked in little ones, brainwashed the planet, censored free speech, left the border wide open, shut down the economy over you know what that they created, okay? Insert in your upper part of your arm something you didn't want, destroyed the American dream, and tried to unalive Trump. You don't get to do that. I can't use his exact words, but you don't get to do that and walk away. All the things that were mentioned. Nobody walks away from this. They can call it, I guess I'm allowed to say retribution if they want to. That's a legal term. Society requires retribution. That's what part of punishment is. Well, it's funny you should say that, Dixie, because northern border. You all remember back in 2-0 and then 2-0. It wasn't reports. It was matters of fact that Trudeau had invited a bunch of something in the order of tens of thousands of troops from CHYNA to do winter training in Canada, military training in Canada. And Canadian generals made him call off those exercises. That's the story we heard. But they still had something in the area of 100,000 in Canada. And the word on the street is that they're getting ready to do something like that again. And that a lot of them didn't, the troops never really left. What are they preparing under the guise of a mutual training event as a friendly nation, one friendly nation to another friendly nation? That might be the shocker. Whoa. They're saying Kamala's 60 Minutes interview was a real stinker. Did you all hear that? She claims she owns a Glock. Now she's a pistol packing mama instead of somebody that wants to take our GUNs. She's a pistol packing mama herself. I don't believe that. But she was asked point blank about her policies of why in the world they let so many people in the country to flood the country. And she had to know the question was coming and totally unsatisfactory answer for a thinking person. But you know what we're dealing with? Citizen Free Press reposted this tweet, I guess you call it, that this lady put out about her marriage being destroyed. You know why it got destroyed? I'll give you one guess. But anyway, it's at soaps, as in soap, Dove soap or Dial soap, _hope. Soaps Hope. If you all want to check it, I'll read it to you. Hope EC post menopausal something. Donald Trump broke my marriage. Donald Trump is destroying people's marriages. As of today, after 8 effing years of fighting, not fighting, ignoring, pretending, we decided to divorce. Donald Trump broke my marriage, and I know I'm not alone. That was the post they put up. And who would announce that to the world? But I tell you what, after 8 years, I bet you that husband is breathing a sigh of relief. Take it all. Take the car, take that. Well, except the dog. And other than that, you have it all. But who in the world is going to allow their marriage to end because they don't like Donald Trump? That is a small percentage. I'm praying is a small percentage of people in this country. And to the husband, you didn't really have a marriage anyway. If that's all it took, that person really didn't want to build anything with you. So there's something I shared on Truth Social. If y'all are on Truth, you might want to share it. It's a short video that there's no way I could play it here on YouTube. Matt Haney, a principal at Mount Desert High School in Maine, idly stands by as a trans student beats the HE double hockey sticks out of a female student. This is them getting off the bus. Haney later ordered students not to share this video and to delete it. I said, okay, so I will share it. And I did. So if y'all want to see that, a lot of disturbing stuff coming from around the globe. But a good sign for us here in the States is that Jill Stein is starting a campaign in Michigan. And I hope a lot of you have seen the polls that's showing Michigan breaking for Trump. But anyway, Jill Stein's got a thing called Abandon Harris 24. Abandon Biden turned into Abandon Harris. For immediate release, Abandon Harris campaign endorses Jill Stein and Butch Ware for 2024 presidential election. A press conference will be held in Dearborn, Michigan on Wednesday, October 9th with Jill Stein. So that is coming up day after tomorrow. Hi, Hebrew Hammer. How you doing? That's right, Angela. Too big to rig. Uh-oh. Yeah, who knows what's going to come out with that Diddy's tape. Where did I see that? Yeah, I saw that article too, Angela, but if you look at that article closely, it says it's a parody article. I'm not saying it's not true, but they themselves say they are a parody. It's a skit, like a Babylon Bee article. I had somebody send that article to me, I think about over a year ago, and I noticed it said that it was a parody. Anyway, Elon Musk is putting his money where his mouth is. For every person you refer who is in a swing state, you get $47. Easy money. Oh, are they going to go nuts over that? Elon Musk is referring to a post Jack Posobiec put up. Remember Schlitz beer? Schlitz? We'll take the Z off. He says, holy Schlitz. Elon's America PAC, his PAC, is offering $47 for each registered voter you refer in a swing state that signs this petition. It's a petition in favor of free speech and the right to bear arms. So you refer somebody and get $47. He's putting his money where his mouth is. So, yeah, if you can go to Posobiec, Jack Poso, at Jack Posobiec, you'll see the petition and where to sign it up for. Our goal is to get 1 million registered voters in swing states to sign support of the Constitution, especially freedom of speech and the right to bear arms. The program is exclusively open to registered voters in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and Nevada, North Carolina, and North Carolina. So if you know anybody in those areas, and hey, that'll really help in North Carolina. You know, somebody that is on their backside can get 10 people to go to that site, they'll get $470. And it won't be alone. No, Diddy's not a distraction. I mean, you can take 2 seconds to learn about Diddy and then move on with your day. There are going to be so many big names going down, and they're not all tied to just Epsteinio. You got generations of people who have been bribed, filmed, extorted, and that are involved in government and mainstream media. Epsteinio was the older generations. Diddy was younger generations and a different culture, but the same MO, which is to get people in power in compromising positions. So it's going to be somebody else besides P. Diddy. And it's not a distraction, it's a revelation to the general population that never knew about Epsteinio. We've known about it for 8 years, at least. You got people now that have just found out about it in the last 12 to 24 months. They'll put 2 and 2 together. Look for more. Look for more. Like that Scientology stuff that's coming out. What's that guy's name? Well, one of them went to jail for a long time. But anyway, there's going to be more crap coming out of other people. So anyway, all right, folks. Well, let me just see what's going on in the chats. Yeah, they're going to try to settle, Pappy, but it isn't going to save them. It isn't going to save them. And they'll point out other people. They'll point out others. When do birds sing? You want to take a life sentence down to 15 years, 20 years, or you want to be for certain gone for life? Spill your guts. You watch. Because the examples have been set with R. Kelly getting 40 years, Maxwell getting 20 years. Diddy's looking at the rest of his life. Some of these pampered, wealthy people they see what happened to Harvey Weinstein, okay? All these big names that lived a life of luxury all of a sudden are in an orange outfit and flip-flops, getting 2 cups of Kool-Aid a day on top of their regular meals. They'll sing. They'll sing like birds. Yeah, Tom Hanks. And there's nowhere they can really go. We've got treaties with other countries where they'll be extradited. There isn't any more of this business like who was that guy years ago? What was his name? Oh gosh, Roman Pulaski or whatever his name. I can't think of it. Maybe somebody in the chats will know who I'm talking about. Who's messing around with an underage person and ran off to France? Roman Polanski. And what's his name with the glasses? Woody, what's his name? Yeah, Polanski, that's his name. And then you got, what's his name? He was married to Twiggy, and then, or whatever her name was, and he ended up running off with his adopted minor stepdaughter. Woody Allen, right? Television show. Those days are over. Those days are over. And they're 2 that we know about. Hi, Araceli, how you doing? Mia Farrow, right. There won't be anywhere for them to hide. So anyway, unless something happens, I'll be broadcasting probably Wednesday. Let's see. Yeah, be broadcasting probably Wednesday. Unless something big happens, I'll do a surprise live stream. So if you are subscribed and hit the notification bell, unless you're unfortunate like Tuco, he said they did not notify him. If that happens, you go back and make sure you're subscribed and make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And I appreciate you coming in everybody, Tuco included, everybody that was able to find my broadcast that wasn't notified. And if you hadn't done it, hi, Sparky. If you hadn't done it, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you didn't like broadcast, give me a thumbs down. But at least let me know something. I appreciate it very much. And I'm going to rewatch my video that got me in trouble and got taken down off of Utizzle. It's on Bumble. Okay. It's the video that has a picture of the reflecting pool with a bolt of lightning coming down. I just uploaded it the day before yesterday. I'm going to review that to see what I could have done to have my content removed. And I learned my little lesson. I make sure I get it backed up as soon as possible because they take down my stuff. And if I disappear for a week, you know they got me. Hi, Tennessee. How you doing? Haha, thank you, Angela. She gave me an extra thumbs up on a different device. That's right, Sparky. I want to see him go down too. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. And I may be going live tomorrow, but I don't know. We'll see. Wednesday is what I'm shooting for unless something happens. Keep your fingers crossed for everybody that suffered from these terrible storms and what's going to happen in Florida. And, something big's coming in the Middle East. Okay. There's no stopping that. I don't believe there's no stopping that. It's in the cards. And, a lot of lives are going to be in jeopardy. So, let's stay strong, stay focused, be prepared, have a bug out bag on top of everything else we talked about, and a plan to stay safe. So anyway, thank you for spending your precious time with me. And I hope you all have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.